On to the last team in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions. Now, last year they were 3-13-1. We know they're talented. They had one of the better drafts of any NFL team, drafting Aiden Hutchinson, then trading up to go get Jameson Williams, two guys who people expect to be cornerstone of their franchises for years to come. Now, they're talented. We know that. But will it lead to wins this year? Last year, they weren't the most talented, but they were in a lot of games. You know, I said they are the best, worst team that I've ever seen. And I said that because they lost 6 games by 1 score last year against San Fran, the Ravens, the Vikings, the Browns, the Bears, and the Falcons. They added DJ Chark, Mike Hughes, Deshaun Elliott, Jameson Williams, Aiden Hutchinson, and they have the 13th ranked offensive line. I'm kind of high on the Lions this year.
This guy gets it.
You know, I'm not high in the aspect that they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be an exciting young team to watch.
100%.
You know, I wish they would have drafted a quarterback in the draft just to, hopefully, just like a swing pick. But you look at their offense, Deandre Swift, Jamal Williams, Jameson Williams, DJ Chark, the speed of those two guys on the outside is crazy. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the better slots soon to be. TJ Hawkinson, hopefully he's healthy. The defense we know is not that good. You know, Aiden Hutchinson hopefully gives them that edge rushing presence.
For sure.
But their defense is not going to be so good.
Prayers for a Jeff Okudah breakout. Prayers.
Exactly. I'm just hoping the secondary is improved because they did bring in Mike Hughes, who was good for Kansas City this past season. Jeff Okudah, is he going to be good? Like that,
Prayers.
really? Is he going to be
Who
good?
the hell knows?
Prayers.
Because if he's good, that changes a lot of things defensively for Detroit. But I like Dan Campbell. I like their coaching staff. I think they can surprise some teams. For me, I have them going 5-12 or 6-11. I have them around that area.
All right.
I don't think they have like this significant, crazy uptrend.
I don't know if that's high on Detroit.
That's not.
But
I don't think
it
that's
is.
high
It
on
is. I mean,
Detroit.
what do you mean they're doubling their win total?
Because I'll tell you what, Joel made me feel like I'm high on them by having 7
he had them
wins.
going 7-10.
I have them winning 7 games. You telling me 6 games, which
Seven seems okay. You're high.
I knew they were in a lot of close games, but I wasn't sure. I actually was looking that up while you were speaking. When you told me that they lost 6 games by 1 score, it gave me that extra confidence to give them this extra win. Now, you said a lot of the things that I believe as well. This offense got a little bit more exciting. You add Jameson Williams to this wide receiver core, DJ Chark to this wide receiver core to pair with Amon-Ra, who was absolutely outstanding in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Defensively is where you worry. This secondary is not good by any means. You really have to bank on Jeff Okudah breaking out in his 3rd year now in the NFL. I really am hopeful. It's been unfortunate his story up until this point. He just can't stay on the field, but he's feeling good. He says that he's healthy. Hopefully it translates in his play. And Aiden Hutchinson getting drafted with the number 2 pick overall, like you mentioned, hopefully he really has a presence on that outside that makes offensive lines uncomfortable and rattles the quarterback, because then it can take a little bit of pressure off of that secondary. But I'm not going to bank on a rookie coming in and making that immediate impact. I don't see him as a Nick Bosa type prospect coming in where he's immediately changing defenses, and really harming the offense. But overall, I do have confidence in the Detroit Lions. Deandre Swift is one of the most exciting young backs in the NFL. I look for him to have a huge season both in the run and the passing game this year. And the fact that Jamal Williams is his backup is huge, because Jamal Williams is one of the better backups in the NFL as well. I already mentioned the wide receiver core, where last season we were talking about it being one of the more underwhelming wide receiver cores, one of the worst wide receiver cores, and now it's one of the more young, exciting wide receiver cores in the NFL with Amon-Ra, DJ Chark, and Jameson Williams. Yep. TJ Hawkinson, a top 10 tight end at the absolute worst, and you mentioned it, a top 13 offensive line last season. I'm looking for it to be among one of the best offensive lines this season. Now they have another year of experience together. It all is going to come down to whether Jared Goff can just be slightly above average. If he can be average, slightly above average, they can win 7 games for sure. I'm going to go through the schedule really quick. Week 1 versus Philadelphia, I have them losing. Versus Washington, I have them winning. At Minnesota, I have them losing. Versus Seattle, I have them winning. At New England, I have them winning. Bye week. At Dallas, a loss. Versus Miami, a loss. Versus Green Bay, a loss. At Chicago, a loss. at New York. I contemplated Detroit beating them twice. I did.
Chicago?
Yes, I really did contemplate, but I couldn't do it. I feel like we need to give Chicago a game, and if they were 1-16, that would have been absolutely insane. Not that it's crazy though. At the Giants, I have them losing. This one I was torn between. I really, really teetered with that one. I needed to give I feel like I've been giving the Giants losses every single time.
You should.
Unfortunately. Versus Buffalo, loss. Versus Jacksonville, W. Versus Minnesota, W. At the New York Jets, I gave them a loss because I needed to give the Jets a win when we did our earlier rankings in. It's in New York. Jets are a new team. Who knows what can happen? At Carolina, I have them winning. Versus Chicago, I have them winning. At Green Bay, Week 18, I have them losing for a 7-10 record.
7-10, that seems high to me. I have them 5-12.
Six games last year with one of the worst defense in the league. Bottom 2 in terms of yards, bottom 4 in terms of points. Like, I think other way around, actually. I apologize. And the fact that they were still in 6 games within one score, maybe it changes this year with a little bit of different team.
I don't disagree. I think the Lions are going to be competitive for sure. You know, they have a team that might not be as talented, especially defensively, but they obviously play with a shit ton of heart. Like, they take the persona of their head coach. Dan Campbell came first press conference, said we're going to be biting people's kneecaps off or whatever the hell he said, and the Lions took that and ran with it.
He's a legend.
They're going to be a fun team. Like, Deandre Swift is one of my favorite running backs. He's one of the best dual threat running backs in the NFL.
For sure.
I am a bit worried about the receiving core because I don't think Jameson's going to be ready for week 1.
Yep,
and fair. I think it's going to be difficult for him to come in weeks 4, 5, right into the NFL as a rookie. He was obviously insane at Alabama, don't get me wrong. But I think that might be a bit difficult because then after that, you're looking at DJ Chark and Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is not great. Like, they've had good seasons in the past. DJ Chark had 1,000 yards in Jacksonville one year. Amon-Ra had a great rookie season, but he did that a lot without TJ Hockenson on the field, without Deandre Swift on the field. When they were both on the field, Amon-Ra, it's a chicken or the egg. Did it take Amon-Ra to the second half of the season where he got accustomed to the offense in the NFL to break out, or is it because he just had much more opportunity because their 2 best offensive options weren't on the field? Their front 7 still needs a ton of work, I think. Aiden Hutchinson is a huge upgrade, don't get me wrong. But we saw last year with Pittsburgh, TJ Watt was the best or second best defensive player in the league last year, and the Pittsburgh still had the worst.
They made the playoffs.
I know. I'm saying defensively, they had the worst rush defense in the NFL. So just because you add an elite edge rusher doesn't always translate to having a great front 7 or a great defense in general. The corners are unproven, as you mentioned. Jeff Okudah, I'm hopeful. But at this point, I can't bank on him being anything. Like, is he a starter? Is he just a depth guy? Can he even stay on the field? So I'm hopeful he could stay healthy to see what he could really pan out to be, that top 5 pick that they took on him a couple of years ago. And they did upgrade safety. They have Tracy Walker, signed Deshaun Elliott from the Ravens as well. So I think in total, I have them going 5-12. I think they'll be a competitive team. I think they'll be a fun team. I think they're a lot better than Chicago Bears. And I'm excited for them next season to, probably get a quarterback in the draft in a class that is a lot more talented than this past season and just build on this foundation that they have. A great offensive line, good running back. Jameson Williams could be a wide receiver 1. So I think for Bears fans, you should be excited for the future. You're a year away from being Lions fans. You're a year away from being a year away.
I really just want to take this time to highlight how great Amon-Ra was. From week 13 on, and then we can end the show, no doubt. 12 targets in week 13 against Minnesota, 10 receptions, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Next week versus Denver, who Denver has a very good secondary, especially last season. 12 targets, 8 receptions, 73 yards, no touchdowns. The week after that, Arizona, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 90 yards, a touchdown. Against Atlanta, 11 targets, 9 receptions, 91 yards, a touchdown. Week after that, at Seattle, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 111 yards, a touchdown. And week 18 versus Green Bay, 10 targets, 8 receptions, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Amon-Ra was insane to end the season.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift was out weeks 13 to 16, and Hockenson was out. Give me 1 second.
Amon-Ra also had a rushing touchdown week 17.
Yeah, Amon-Ra is a very, very good player.
Hockenson was out from week 14 on. So that's I do think Amon-Ra is good. I just think it came from an uptick in targets and volume more than anything.
And you know what? Fair enough. I'll level with you. But now that we just saw what Amon-Ra is capable of and how efficient he was able to be, I believe at least, especially given the fact that wide receiver is so much more essential, he is going to have a significant amount of looks this season.
Yeah.
Lock that.
Okay.
Lock it. I mean, dude, Amon-Ra was unbelievable. League winners in fantasy football for a lot of people.
And
forget about just fantasy. He is going to see
good.
volume.
Yeah, no, he's good.
And also the Lions playbook really opened up when Anthony Lynn was demoted as OC. So now that he's not there anymore, it definitely makes their offense much better. So I think Amon-Ra can have a big time year. DJ Chark can have a big time year. Jameson Williams when he comes back.
It's all
this offense is really good. Jared Goff
there it is.
has a chance to have an okay season.
I don't know if I'm ready to say this offense is really good. They have some fun weapons.
They're
fun
exciting.
Weapons. Yes.
Very well said. Yeah. Very well said.
To recap our predictions, these are our NFC North predictions for the 2022 NFL season. I have the Packers finishing at 12-5, the Vikings at 11-6, the Lions at 6-11, and the Bears at 3-14.
I have the Packers win the division at 11-6, the Vikings one game behind them at 10-7, the Lions at 5-12, and the Bears at 3-14.
So for my final rankings, I have the Packers going 12-5, Minnesota Vikings going 9-8, the Lions 7-10, and lastly coming in dead last and might be the worst team in the NFL, Chicago Bears 2-15.